This movie wants you to believe that it's just about Jesus, but it's not. It rewrites history and enforces religious control. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Common Sense Cult, where we unravel Christian thinking, criticize indoctrination, and dissect apologetics. Today we're going to be diving hard into the part about criticizing indoctrination as we talk about the 2025 hit, The King of Kings. Now, if you've heard of this movie, The King of Kings, you probably already know that Angel Studios was the one to take it on and promote it. Yes, that Angel Studios that promotes a lot of faith-based movies and received a lot of backlash for films like Sound of Freedom. It should come as no surprise then that the advertising and marketing for The King of Kings was deceiving. I first saw an ad for it on my Instagram, and then I was bombarded with ads for the movie saying things like theaters are quickly selling out and the movie is packed with A-list actors. I ultimately decided to watch the movie because of the ads, so I mean, I guess they worked. But it was because I thought something fishy was going on, and turns out there was. So when I purchased my tickets for opening weekend, which was Easter weekend, I expected to have a lot of difficulty to find seats because of the constant ads telling me that everything was sold out. To my surprise, theaters near me were nowhere near to being sold out. Even on the day of the movie, there were so many open seats around us. I would say the theater was maybe half full at best. And I do live in a city, not out in the boondocks. I live in a city and in an area that is fairly conservative. So there are a lot of people who would be interested in this movie. And even then, on opening weekend, I mean, it wasn't sold out. It was nowhere close to being sold out. This seemed really weird to me. Like, I get the marketing tactic. You want to give urgency. You want people to say, oh no, I have to buy quickly. I get that. But why lie? Why say that theaters are selling out when they clearly aren't? And yes, the things telling me that it was sold out were location specific. When I went to purchase, they said locations near my zip code in this area, like this list of theaters, they are selling out. So it wasn't just, not in my area. It was very location specific and very deceiving. It wasn't true. And again, I understand the marketing tactic. It's very effective. It worked on me. But the thing is that this is a studio that promotes faith-based movies. It caters to religious individuals who supposedly value things like honesty and transparency. So while promoting family and faith-based flicks, they're also manipulating people into getting more sales. Interesting. Now let's move on to the celebrity roster. I was really surprised to see names like Mark Hamill, Pierce Brosnan, and Uma Thurman listed in the cast. And honestly, that marketing tactic, again, worked on me. I wanted to see a movie that those actors are in. But they had incredibly minor roles. Like, Mark Hamill's character had all of, 15 seconds. And to me, this just feels like another disingenuous marketing tactic, using these big names to pique people's interest and get them to buy tickets, only to be let down by 10 seconds of hearing Mark Hamill's voice and not even recognizing it. And I also feel like they did this to pull people in and convince them that this is a high quality production when the animation and storyline clearly show that it is not. Jesus was voiced by Oscar Isaac, which seems to be yet another marketing tactic.
Duh.
Kids and parents alike would recognize him as Poe in Star Wars. I mean, it gives a whole new meaning to this quote.
Somehow Palpatine
Jesus.
in return.
And that recognition of Oscar Isaac would give a whole new level of relatability to the movie and the character of Jesus, right? On top of that, his voice is very calm, very wise, very authoritative, which makes people want to listen and trust the character that he's portraying, Jesus.
I want you to know, the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins.
And interestingly, Oscar Isaac is a person of color. So it's completely ironic to me that they cast a person of color to voice Jesus and then they completely whitewash the animation of Jesus, right? Can you see the irony there? It's just strange choices all around, or perhaps marketing genius. I'm not sure which. But that makes me all the more skeptical. Jesus and also Dickens, who wrote the book that this was supposedly based on, would both be adamantly against these types of marketing tactics and manipulation. Jesus flipped tables in the temple when they were selling things in God's holy place, so I guarantee you he would not be happy with people trying to make a massive profit off of a movie about his life. And then Dickens adamantly was against organized religion, and they twisted his work to promote organized religion. So both of these people would be horrified at these disingenuous and manipulative marketing tactics for a evangelical Christian agenda. Moving on, let's talk about the sales and reviews. After opening weekend, the advertisements for the movie started talking about the massive sales they made and about the incredible stellar reviews. The King of Kings movie made a reported $19.4 million on the opening weekend in the US and Canada, and it received a very rare A+ score on CinemaScore, which less than 130 movies have. Given those stats, the movie had to be fantastic, right? No, not necessarily. This is still the result of deceitful marketing. I 100% do not believe the movie made $19.4 million on tickets for people who actually went to go see the movie. Angel Studios has this whole pay it forward system where you can choose to pay for other people's tickets in case they might not be able to afford it. They had this whole last announcement at the end of the movie in the theater where they used children to say how great and amazing the movie was and that you should pay for tickets so that more kids could go and see it. Manipulation and indoctrination at its finest, if you ask me. But I did take advantage of the pay it forward feature because I didn't want to give them more money than I needed to, and so I got tickets for my kids to go free. And out of sheer curiosity, I went on and tried to order tickets on the last or almost last day that it was in theaters, and guess what? There were still free tickets available. That means that people had paid for so many tickets that there was a surplus that not everybody used those tickets to actually go and see the movie.
Which means it was all a waste.
So my conclusion is that these sales are massively inflated because of passionate people buying lots of tickets for others who never actually went to go see the movie. While we can't know for sure how much of those $19.4 million actually translated into people seeing the movie, I feel like it is a reasonable conclusion to say that those numbers are inflated. And the A+ rating, again, not realistic. The cinema score is based on polls from opening night audiences. And who is going to see The King of Kings on opening nights? I mean, besides heretics and apostates like me, but Christian families who want to go see the movie, who are already believing in Christ as a savior, who already resonate with the movie. So of course the scores are going to be through the roof because people wanted to go see it. And of course they're going to give it an A+ because it's about Jesus and that's who they love. But if you go online and look at online reviews, that's a whole different story and definitely not A+. And again, I think this just speaks to the success of Angel Studios' marketing skills. They clearly knocked it out of the park and made a massive profit. It knew its audience, it pushed hard to its audience, and it paid off. It was a win-win for Angel Studios, but it was a lose-lose for the children.
Think of the children.
And that leads me to my final point about information, thought, and emotion control. I'm sure you've already connected the dots a bit, what with the historical misrepresentation and the erasure of culture. But I wanted to show you this movie right side by side with the Byte model to show you just how many boxes it checks as tactics for authoritarian control. I'll cover these points briefly because I have gone into how Christianity aligns with the Byte model at length in my testimony video. So let's start with information control. Deception. Does the movie deliberately withhold and distort information to make it more acceptable? Yes and yes. It deliberately withholds information about Charles Dickens, specifically negative things like his daughter, the Lucifer box, and his affair with a minor. And it also distorts Dickens, his book, Jesus, and Jewish culture. What about point 2, minimizing or discouraging access to non-cult sources of information? While the movie doesn't directly do this, it is part of a much larger problem of only allowing kids access to Christian media. This movie, The King of Kings, would be one of the approved options for them. Point 3, does the movie compartmentalize information into outsider versus insider doctrine? Yes. We saw this with the erasure of Jewish culture as they painted Jesus and his disciples as the good people and the Jewish people as the bad ones. It also brings Dickens into the insider circle because it paints him as a devout Christian, even though he would have wanted no part in this movie or this propaganda. These same ideas cross over into thought control and instilling black and white thinking. The movie, with its twisted visuals and representation, teach that Jesus and his followers are good and that Jewish people are bad. Likewise, it shows us that Dickens is akin to Jesus when history says otherwise. Another type of thought control used here is requiring members to internalize group doctrine as truth. There's no room for nuance in this movie. It has a clear preaching message that Jesus was sent to save the world from sin. No question about it, no room for nuance. There's no exploring Jewish tradition. There's no exploring what Dickens actually said in his book. There's no questioning whether or not Jesus was actually God and what it actually means for other people. No questions at all. This is portrayed as truth. Moving over to emotional control. Does the movie manipulate and narrow the range of feelings? Absolutely. It uses feelings like sadness and awe to drive the viewers, children, towards feelings of unworthiness and dependence on Jesus. Along the same lines, we move to the point about promoting unworthiness and guilt. I have to come back to the parts, for example, where Walter almost drowned, the montage of people seeing Jesus as they save them, the overly dramatic death of Jesus as he sacrifices himself to save those other people. It all creates guilt in the viewer. What about phobia indoctrination? Again, yes. The scene about the desert temptation and this one where Jesus cast the demon into the pigs, both strike fear into children about an invisible, scary enemy. And the worst part about this whole thing and these tactics of information, thought, and emotional control is that this movie is geared towards children. The movie is less about telling an honest story about Jesus and more about controlling what kids see, feel, and think. It's a textbook example of cult-like indoctrination wrapped up in a package titled Nice Children's Movie. So guys, what do you think? Is The King of Kings a harmless children's movie? Or is it a 90-minute lesson on cult tactics and Christian nationalist propaganda wrapped up in bobblehead animation? I'd have to go with the latter. But here's the thing. The more we talk about it, the less power it has. The more we raise awareness for cult tactics and control tactics, the more often we can recognize them and put a stop to them. They can try and rewrite history, but they can't stop us from questioning it. So that's it for today. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to help me out and support me so I can keep making videos like this. I have so much planned for you guys in the upcoming videos and I can't wait to share it with you all. So until then, question everything.